Welcome back to Newsmaker Live, and thank you for staying tuned. We're discussing the U.S. presidential election that was held yesterday in all the states of the United States of America. All the states, of course.
In Florida, perhaps.
Well, probably Florida should secede, you know, and just have 49 states, because for the third time in a row, you have problems in Florida in the presidential election.
In 2012.
I don't want to say that, you know, in 2016. No, 2000. You know, they gave it to George Bush. I don't want to say that because, you know, I mean, I was sure a little biased, but it appeared that way. Yes. So
the issues. Yes.
Yeah,
so
the
yes, I just wanted to make the point about the ground game, because that was truly, for me, that's what, in terms of getting out the vote. They did a tremendous amount of work, the Obama campaign, and it also showed that big money doesn't always win, and we can talk about that a little later. But the issues, I think Americans had a sense of, listen, what the Republicans were maybe going to do was not fair in terms of the tax system. That really upset Americans. There's this 20% across the board cut that Romney and Ryan could not explain how that would necessarily benefit the middle class and lower middle income people. Obviously, you know, the richer people, it's not a problem. They couldn't explain the loopholes that they say they would close in order to make up for the deficit and so on. They were not specific. And so I think Americans felt, okay, we're not too happy with Obama, but we don't like this vague plan that you have. So that was one issue. The other issue too, and as a woman, I can tell you, women's reproductive rights and the whole idea of women being in charge of their own bodies. Republicans obviously have an issue with that. And so I think women definitely felt very uneasy about a Romney-Ryan ticket or Romney-Ryan administration intruding basically in their bodies, right? And of course, immigration is huge. Let me tell you, Clinton, I think America is a second Latin America. Seriously, living there, I mean, every second person you meet is Hispanic or of Latino descent.
And everybody speaks Spanish.
That's correct.
Where was I? I was in a state recently, and I was, you know, at Target.
Yeah.
And the cashier could not speak English.
And you better understand her or him, huh?
I was shocked. She could not speak English.
Right.
She could not converse in English at all.
Right.
Spanish, strictly Spanish.
And you have to.
I'm like, where am I?
Exactly. And it's almost like a bilingual society. You know, you not believe that English is the official language, but yeah, they're almost bilingual. So that was also huge. And the Romney-Ryan ticket just could not respond or relate to the Hispanic community. So those were, for me, those were the major issues. And you know what was funny to me, Clinton, and you know, maybe David can weigh in on this. Yes, everyone's about jobs. True. But you know what was also important to people? Yeah, we're going through a bad time. Do you empathize? Do you understand me? Can you help me?
Right.
Yes, it wasn't just about the mechanics and the breakdown of the fix-it, because you know, Romney set himself up as the fix-it guy, business. Yeah, but people, yeah, we get you, but that's a company. We're talking about a country and different types of people who have different types of struggles. Do you understand us and do you empathize with us?
Right.
And I think that's where it wasn't just about jobs.
Right.
It was how people felt about the candidates.
You know, Clinton, it's interesting. Watching the exit polls, in almost all of the states that were battleground states, the exit polls indicated that the most important issue for voters was the economy.
Right.
Something in the region of about 60%. And it's also clear that for those persons who said the economy was the major issue, Romney won that by a slight majority, but a majority nonetheless. And that's, I think that's very interesting, is very telling about this election, because this is a very peculiar election. Here you have a country where people are saying they don't think the economy is doing as well as they would like. They think that Romney would probably do a better job, but they still voted for Obama.
Right.
And
that's ironic.
Yeah, but and I think there are a couple of things that explains that. I think here's what I think happened. I think Romney was a bad candidate, and I'll tell you why. I think Romney, unfortunately, got caught between the right wing of the Republican Party and his own moderate tendencies, and he couldn't reconcile the two.
So he looked insincere.
He looked insincere. He wasn't able to, and Romney also had a very significant problem that he never overcame in his campaign, which was that Romney, for the entire campaign, ran on the basis that he was entitled, in the sense that here's this guy, his father ran for president, just like Bush. His father didn't make. His father wasn't elected president. It's his turn now. He can do this. Obama's election was a fluke, and it's just his to have. He didn't have a core set of values, a core set of ideology or beliefs, or of just a political core that voters could connect to, and that's why he got caught, by the way, between, you know, on the one side moderate America and on the other side conservative, the extreme conservative party. And that cost him, because he was running purely because he thought he was just he was the person who was supposed to do it. And that was his best argument. He was not running. Whereas when Obama ran in 2008, and Michelle, I think, really encapsulated it very eloquently in the Democratic Convention.
Right.
That for Obama, one of the things that's very clear about him is that he's running because it's personal. He's running because he actually very deeply cares about the issues that affect
feels it too,
average
because he's in the same position as all, most Americans.
But I still don't think that explains why Romney lost, because there was a huge coalition trying to oust Obama. And here's what I think really, really mattered. I think what really mattered was that there was, and I think somebody put this very, very well last night on CNN, a gentleman by the name of Van Jones, there was a backlash against the backlash, in the sense, Obama got elected. The huge swaths of American society who have difficulty accepting this first-generation American, father is from Kenya, lived in Indonesia.
A real black man.
A black man. They can't believe his name is Obama, his middle name is Hussein. They can't believe he's really American. They were asking him they need him to produce a certificate. Do you know that there were actually soldiers, and this is actually fact now. There were actually soldiers, high-ranking senior soldiers, who refused to go to war on the basis that they did not believe the commander-in-chief was an American. It's unprecedented in American history. So there was these whole sections of American society who were just simply unwilling to accept that this man had become their president. And I think what happened is that you saw the reaction to that. So you had Republicans from day one saying, we're going to make you a one-term president. Nothing you do is going to succeed. We're going to block you at every step. And I think that Obama coalition, those Latinos, those black voters, those women, I think they just said, look, you're picking on this guy. He may not be doing fantastically well, but he's on our side, and we're not going to let you bully him.
But you see, what happened, I think, is that Obama showed the establishment that whereas you can be in high office because of your money, the middle class, the people down there are in the majority, and at the end of the day, they call the shots.
I think it's also about values.
One man, one vote.
So
it boiled down to that as well. That numbers. You can have all the money you want. Yes, you might be able to buy some votes, but you'll not buy the majority of the votes.
And I think I think that's very interesting, Clinton, because as I said, one of the tragedies of American politics is how much big money has come in. We know about the super PACs, political action committees, that have been legitimized by the Supreme Court. And so you can just pour billions of dollars and not necessarily declare the source. That's the dangerous part. So apparently this election has been unprecedented in terms of the amount of money spent in the campaign.
$6 billion.
That's right, unprecedented. But it didn't do what it's supposed to do. And that, for me, was one of the high points of this election. And we want to talk about symbolism. For me, the symbolism here is that money cannot buy an election. You cannot buy people. You cannot buy people's values. And as David was saying, about Obama being on our side, that was more important to people than all the ads and all the money and that sort of thing. So for me, that was a huge thing.
It's called identity politics. Because remember, I was talking about those exit polls saying that people thought the economy was the best issue. Sorry, the most important issue, and Romney was winning. The other really telling statistic was that people overwhelmingly said they had a favorable view of Obama. And when they were asked which candidate they thought empathized more with them, which candidate reflected who they were, they went overwhelmingly for Obama. And I agree with everything ayodele has said, but that is what I think at the end put him over the top. She's absolutely right. What happened in the United States last night is a revolution of grassroots politicking that you would expect from a third world country, not from someplace like
mighty United States of America. We're due for a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll be taking your calls, but we also want to discuss the implications for St. Lucia and the region. We'll do that right after this break, and we'll take your calls. Stay tuned to this show. We'll continue with our discussion on the U.S. presidential election right after this.